somewhere in New Zealand, it's the Dave Benson Show with your host, Dave.
Hello everyone out there, hello everyone out here, welcome back everyone, welcome back to the Dave Benson Show, the number one independent talk show on the whole rock, the spinning rock, and the only show where you can arrive here by accident, and I'm still going to take credit for it. Now imagine this, you're holding a playing card next to your chest. Your next door neighbor closes their eyes to guess the number while dangling upside down from a tank over a pit of snarling crocodiles. Can crocodiles actually snarl, Tom? I don't think they can. Good one, Tom. Well put in. All right, so you're dangling there, the snarling crocodiles, your neighbor is screaming, the crocodiles are confused, and then you calmly press the third button from the left on your phone and boom, you're watching the Dave Benson Show, because that's how magic works around here. One part mystery, one part danger, and one part Tom saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. So buckle up, winter wanderers, grab a drink, make sure no reptiles are snarling in your general direction, and answer the one question on everyone's lips. Has Bono finally found what he's looking for? I mean, honestly, it's been decades. The man has treasure hunt money. Just buy it, Bono. Just buy it. All right, let's kick into the monologue.
It's the monologue.
Starting off in Amsterdam. So scientists have discovered that kissing didn't start with humans. Not at all. It began 20 million years ago with ancient apes. Apparently, our distant primate ancestors were smooching each other for bonding and comfort, which is kind of adorable, until you realize somewhere along the evolutionary line, someone said, yeah, let's keep doing that, but with tongues. Humanity is always consistent in our bad decisions. Since day one. In Japan, we've talked about their bear problem before, but now there's a solution. Yes, that's right. Japan has a bear problem in rural regions. So naturally, the government rolled out a giant pink robot dog drone with googly eyes and a megaphone that barks like a Yorkshire Terrier. Because when nature threatens you with a 300-kilogram bear, the logical solution is a Power Rangers villain on batteries. Look at this. This thing looks like Hello Kitty joined the SWAT team. And you know the crazy part? It works. Bears took one look at that and immediately reconsidered their life choices. In Oregon, hundreds gathered for the annual pumpkin regatta, where fully grown adults hollow out 900-pound pumpkins and paddle them across a lake like demented Cinderella escape pods. It's the only event where you can sink, win, and become soup all at once. There's something beautiful about it. Humans refusing to evolve, choosing instead to race vegetables. Some people run marathons, some people build businesses, and some people, yes, some people climb into giant pumpkins and hope it floats. Russia's proudly unveiled its first humanoid AI robot at a big tech event. Cameras flashing, executives smiling, the robot walked out, gave a wave, and immediately face planted so hard, nearly rebooting itself. Two engineers sprinted on stage like they were tackling a streaker at the World Cup. It's reassuring to know that even advanced AI still has the grace of a baby giraffe on roller skates. A photographer in Seattle captured a dramatic moment when a seal, fleeing a pack of orcas, leapt clean out of the water and onto his boat. Now imagine this. You're doing your job, and suddenly a fully grown seal appears like, "Hi, I'm with you now." The orcas tried to wave wash the boat, rocking it from left to right to try and get that seal off. Meanwhile, the seal is sitting there like a stressed out commuter who just missed the train. After 15 minutes, the orcas gave up and left. Seal 1, Ocean Murder Squad, 0. A Swedish father broke a world record by fitting 81 lit matches into his nostrils. Why, you might ask? Why? Well, that's simple. Because his children told him to. I love this. This is parenting in 2025. No bedtime stories, no nature walks, just dad setting his face on fire to impress an 8-year-old. The previous record was 68 matches, so he didn't just beat it, he torch slammed it. Oh, Tom, that's one of the worst jokes we've done yet. In Melbourne, 374 bagpipers gathered in full kits to perform AC/DC's It's a Long Way to the Top. A wall of bagpipes, a tsunami of noise. If you lived within a 3-kilometer radius, you've now got permanent tinnitus in the shape of a lightning bolt. Even AC/DC probably heard it from another country. The Royal London Mint unveiled a £2 coin featuring Freddie Mercury, making him the first British rock singer, literally, to be on some money. Some collectors are thrilled. Some say the coin is too small to capture the greatness. Personally, I think if you flick the coin, it should hit a high enough note. A Paris theatre premiered a comedy completely written by AI trained on Molière's works. And the shocking twist? It was actually good. The audience laughed and applauded and probably questioned whether their English literature degree was now actually relevant. So, now we've officially reached the point where even robots are writing better comedy than half the Netflix specials. We know they're better than us, Tom. We do. In classic Florida fashion, a man stole a forklift, scooped up an entire ATM and drove off at, wait for it, 8 miles per hour. Not running, not sprinting, just peacefully cruising through the streets with a bank machine held high like Simba in The Lion King. Police didn't chase. They literally casually walked up and just caught him. It's the most Florida thing since someone tried to deep fry sunscreen. All right, let's kick into the YouTube news. So YouTube has quietly rolled out in-app messaging again, allowing you to send videos directly to your friends without leaving the app. Because what we needed was another platform where people can absolutely ignore our messages. Some creators love it, some creators hate it. And Gen Z will use it exclusively to send cat videos at 3 a.m. in the morning. And if you didn't know this, did you know this, Tom? I didn't know this. The word of the year is parasocial, describing those one-sided relationships people will form with online creators, which means the dictionary is now subtweeting everyone who thinks Mr. Beast would recognize them in public. A proud moment for the internet, truly. We did this, guys. We made emotionally questionable connections mainstream. YouTube announced that Shorts now earn more ad revenue per hour watched than traditional long-form videos. This means creators are sprinting to produce content shorter than my patience when Tom speaks. Entire careers are now built on clips that end before they begin. Some shorts are so quick, you need to replay them just to process what the title is. YouTube is now streaming directly to Delta Airlines seatback screens. So if you were hoping for peace while flying through the air, tough luck. Now you can watch Mark Robber explain physics whilst turbulence explains your mortality. Even better, they offer a free trial of premium mid-flight. Imagine paying for Wi-Fi just to skip the ads on a plane where the only other entertainment is a documentary from 2008. And speaking of Mark Robber, he's recreated the infamous Alcatraz escape using DIY engineering, proving once again that he's one paper cut away from becoming a supervillain. He broke out of a historically escape-proof prison using items that most of us have in our kitchen drawer. If he ever turns evil, he won't break into the bank. He'll simply explain to the vault why it's opening incorrectly, and it's going to apologize to him. Derek Muller, aka Veritasium, launched a new board game where you bid on how confident you are that you actually know science. Finally, a game designed for people who start sentences with, well, actually, it's the academic version of poker, except instead of money, you're gambling your dignity. Perfect for families who enjoy laughing at each other. And finally, Eddie Hall announced in the most Eddie Hall way possible that he could have lifted more than 500 kilograms in the world record deadlift, which honestly, I believe. Then he revealed that he turned down WWE because the travel schedule looked like hell on earth for a dad. Translation: I can lift a car, but don't ask me to sit on a plane next to someone who eats loudly. He once also admitted that he snuck into a wrestling ring to surprise his son. Peak dad behavior. Time for the podcasts. So Alex Cooper dropped another explosive interview this week, and the internet did what it always does. Clipped it, dissected it, misquoted it, and then yelled about it on TikTok. She has perfected the art of the tell me your darkest secret so I can monetize it. Respectfully, genre. Whatever she's doing, it works. Stephen Bartlett celebrated 500 million downloads, which is more people than I could talk to without losing my voice, sanity, or will to live. And to mark the occasion, he interviewed a Fortune 500 CEO who probably meditates on top of a waterfall before breakfast. Bartlett has turned self-improvement into a premium content. If he releases a scented candle, I'm going to be buying it. Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes are taking their podcast back on tour. Imagine paying to watch three men talk in person. To be fair, they are hilarious, and they've reached the point where their behind-the-scenes banter has its own behind-the-scenes banter. Next, it's official. If you've ever held a sports ball professionally, you now have a podcast. Shaq revamped his show. The Kelsey brothers dropped a post-SNL reaction episode. And Simone Bills announced a mental health series. At this rate, even the referees will start a podcast. Welcome back to episode 3 of I'd Like to Explain That Call. A small independent show called Crypto Creeps went viral, covering a bizarre story about a missing Bitcoin billionaire. It's the perfect mix of mystery, digital money, and poor decision-making. True crime fans are obsessed. Crypto brothers are swearing. Hollywood stars teamed up for a scripted thriller podcast that sounds like a movie, acts like a movie, and may actually be a movie in disguise. Podcasts have officially reached the point where you need a table read and a trailer to keep up. Apple added new subscription features where you can finally pay money to avoid hearing "this episode is sponsored by mattresses" and somehow know your sleep personality. I don't know what that means either, but someone's paying $4.99 a month to skip it. When are we going to get a new sponsor, Tom? We haven't had a new sponsor in ages. We need to start pretending that we've got a top sponsor, and then we'll see what happens. You like it? Amazon's Wondery acquired another huge podcast to add to their ever-growing audio empire. If they collect any more, they're going to need a Pokeball. A guest spilled coffee on Joe Rogan mid-show, and the clip went everywhere. It's strangely comforting to know that even the biggest podcaster on earth isn't safe from beverage-based disasters. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the week. Pumpkin boats, robot bears, seals hitchhiking boat rides, AI face planting, Eddie Hall refusing to travel, podcasters dominating the world, and Bono, well, he still hasn't found what he's looking for. But you lucky duckies have. You found this show, and trust me, today's guest is going to blow you away. Tom, let's roll the titles.
I said I want to see the Dave Benson show, and I can't stop and never gonna let it go. I said I want to see the Dave Benson show, and I can't stop and never gonna let it go.
He's been a man of letters and laughter for over 3 decades, and after more than 35 years of pounding the pavements of Hollywood with screenplays and sitcom pilots and more rejection letters than a junk mailbox, he decided to stop waiting for the gatekeepers. Enter Jack and Jen's A Stoic Journey, a weekly webcomic that looks like a quirky slice-of-life cartoon but secretly smuggles his screenplays to the world. Each comic strip on his site doubles as a hook for a full script, complete with professional summaries and links to read the full story. The page even lists him as a script polisher, assignment writer, adaptation writer, co-writer, development writer, and creative consultant, and cheerfully notes that he's ready to be hired. Born into a family of storytellers, I Grew Up With Story is his go-to conversation starter. He's spent his life weaving tales that blend humor with heartfelt observations. Whether pitching a sitcom like Hollywood or Bust or a feature like Meet and Greet, he hides his scripts in plain sight, hoping some exec who hates reading but loves cartoons will stumble across them. Please welcome Rick Kneisley. Rick, how are you?
I appreciate that. Quite an introduction. I hope I can live up to it.
Oh, it's just a tribute to your work. It's whereabouts are you, Rick? It's Thursday night for you. You're in the States. Whereabouts?
Georgetown, Texas. It's just north of Austin. And,
oh, nice.
55 and up, and we have 3 golf courses, and I play golf all the time, and I write the rest of the time. So it's quite nice here. But what I'd like to do is start with a backstory to kind of bring you and everybody up to date. Yeah, I graduated from Purdue University with a Bachelor of Science in Industrial Economics. I was recruited by a Wall Street brokerage firm. I accepted. They sent my wife and I and our 2 little boys to New York for 3 months to train on Wall Street. And we lived in Brooklyn Heights, and our apartment looked out on the Statue of Liberty. And for 2 people that grew up in the Midwest and had never been to New York, this was exciting. And we went to Broadway plays. And, it really was a special experience. And just to step ahead a little bit, both of my rom-coms that you just mentioned, they're set in New York, in this high-energy city. And they're built around the investment industry that I lived in and worked in. So they're unique. They're not cliche. They're different. They're rom-coms, but they're different. And I think they'll be very entertaining to the people that watch them. Let's fast forward to 1990. I was offered a position at a California bank, and it was an investment executive position where they had an alternative investment program, which means if a client wants to leave with their $100,000 CD because they don't like the rate, they turn them over to me. And I talk to them about tax-free municipal bonds, tax-deferred annuities, conservative mutual funds, in order for the bank to hold on to the money, even if it's in the investment side and not in the bank side. And I was very good at it, and I liked it. But I wanted to get to Los Angeles because I grew up with story, and I wanted to write stories. And let me show you this, Dave. This is interesting. This is a Walt Disney Melody Time. And what it is a record here that I put on when I was 4 years old. And it's a storyboard. And it's not a cartoon. It's a morality play. And it's quite interesting. Yeah, this little tugboat gets in trouble and he gets banned from the harbor. But he pulls a miracle and saves the ship in a storm and brings it home. And I also had Pinocchio. I had Uncle Remus. I had Mickey Mouse and the Beanstalk. So, story is embedded in me because my whole fourth year of life, that's all I did. Mom had to work. It was just me and her. She left me alone, but I wasn't alone. I had all these stories. I just played them over and over again. So that's why I wanted to get to Los Angeles and learn how to write these stories. Now, we're all settled in LA, and so I signed up for a 3-day seminar with Professor Richard Walters, who was a professor of screenwriting at UCLA or USC, I'm not sure which. And we studied the art and craft of screenwriting. And it was comprehensive, and it was very intense, and we learned so much. I think he crammed a whole semester that you would have done at college into the 3 days for us. And what we walked away with was basically bullet points on how to create a great screenplay. And I think with your permission, just take me a second to read it, but I think the viewers will find it fascinating. Okay, a great screenplay has to have an inciting incident at the start to hook the audience, something unique, dramatic, and unexpected. A great screenplay has to have a 3-act structure. It has to have character arcs. It has to have a strong conflict. It has to have a strong moral theme. It has to have clear goals and objectives. It has to have reversals and surprises. It has to have subtext in the dialogue. And it has to have callbacks. Callbacks are where an early unresolved issue, later advancements in the story make it possible to resolve it. And a great screenplay must show the story, not tell the story. It's a visual medium. People make that mistake, and people sitting around talking the story can't do it. And then the last thing is a great screenplay must have a strong emotional ending that provides a great payoff for the audience. And that's what my writing does, because this is my Bible. I look at it every time I sit down to write, and it's very meaningful to me, and I think I've incorporated it in everything that I've created so far. So here we are at the end of the 3-day seminar. The professor says, now, if any of you want to write something based on these bullet points, feel free to send it to me, and I'll critique it for you. So I went home, and for 6 weeks, I spent every night writing and every weekend writing, and I came up with a detective show in L.A., very cliche, but I did. And I sent it to him. And a week later, he calls me, and he says, Rick, this is great. This is incredible. How did you do that? I mean, you got everything I taught you in there. And my heart's going, oh, my God, maybe I am good at this. So he was wonderful. And then I said, what am I going to do next? I didn't know. And he said, well, you're going to have to get an agent. And I said, how do I do that? And he said, well, you don't know anybody, so the only thing you can do is write a query letter. So I said, okay. And I went home and I got a dictionary and I looked up the word query because I had no idea what he was talking about. Query, the favor that you're asking someone who is above you to do for you. That's what a query letter is. So here I go. I start writing query letters. Long story short, after 14 years of writing query letters, it was 350 that I had written. And I went to London with agencies there, and New York and Atlanta and Houston. And I don't know if you know it or not, but there's 300 agencies listed in Los Angeles greater area by the state of California that are talent agencies. Yeah, it's incredible. So of those 350, how many do you think I got a reply back from?
0.
Can you believe that? Yeah.
That's insane.
I was dumbfounded. Now, I have the greatest respect for agencies. I know what they do, and they're incredible. But my work never got to those people. Somebody set up a gate. Apparently, every agency, talent agency out there, and spec screenwriters, because there's so many of us, are just saying, just throw them away when they get here. I first started writing on paper and then email letters. Just got deleted, just got thrown away. So that's what I have been dealing with all this time. Plus the fact that my wife and I were moving to Southern California and wanted to get out and see things. So we went to Palm Springs. We went to Union Station and got the Amtrak and went to Santa Barbara and stayed there for a few days. We went to Napa and rode the wine train. We took a boat to Ensenada, Mexico, one day. We did a lot of things. So my efforts in my writing slowed down during that period because we're working full time. But at this point, I started getting serious again about it. And I was thinking to myself, Hollywood is a broad term and it encompasses a lot. And I think that's wrong. In my opinion, Hollywood is this special, magical place where brilliant actors, brilliant actresses, brilliant producers, brilliant directors, cameramen, all these talented people come together and make magic. That's Hollywood. All these other things like agencies are ancillary to that product, to that setup. So I never blamed Hollywood because Hollywood never saw my work. And I don't blame the agencies because they didn't see my work. They just ignored me. So that's my beef. But I have the great respect for both institutions. So anyway, now it has come up to 2014. And I have 2 rom-coms, which I paid to have professional consultants study them. And they came back with very positive reviews. And I'll share one of them with you in a minute. But I have the 2 rom-coms. I have 3 sitcoms, pilots. 2 of them have their first episode. They're brilliant. They're laugh out loud. They're all finishing high in these contests. The Page Awards, Manchester Film Festival Awards, the TV Pilot Awards. I'm up there in the quarterfinals for most of that stuff, for all of my work. But I'm still not getting exposed. I can't get anybody to read it. Oh, I also have an episodic thriller. So anyway, I decided I'm going to write a cartoon that talks about us, adults. And I'm going to do it like problems that we face and issues that we face. And as you probably know, just the other day, I posted a thing on my LinkedIn site about Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, I have a cartoon about that 2 years ago. And it's very prophetic because it all is coming true. But you look at the cartoon and it's really interesting. And then main character, the tax man shows up because my main character runs an espresso bar, and the tax man says, "You haven't paid any taxes in 10 years. And he goes off on him because he doesn't believe in the income tax. It's communistic. And it's just, they're funny. I fortunately was able to find, when I started this, a brilliant cartoonist, and his name is Rick Menard, and he's in New Zealand. And he created my characters, my setting, and everything. I told him what I wanted. He's awesome, and we worked together for 10 years. And I have a brilliant web designer, Charles Hickman. He's in Georgetown, Texas, And he created my website. He manages it. He protects it. So I've got a lot of support for this. But, I got the cartoon out there, and we were adding to it. In over 10 years, we have a lot of product. But I realized it's out there with millions of other people on the internet trying to get attention. They're trying to sell something, just like him. It was lost in the ocean. So I'm still trying to get through to the people who make the decisions about my work or anybody's work. So now I decided to do this. I decided to embed my cartoons in my scripts into the cartoon. So I had Rick Menard create what I wrote were some of the new cartoon panels where my characters talk about my work. They say, hey, I read this great screenplay the other night. You guys ought to take a look at it. And they read the log line, and they mention some of the places that I've gotten awards or close to awards. And then one of them speaks up and said, well, all I have to do is scroll down and hit click on the screenplay, and you can see the whole thing. The whole PDF file is there for each and every product. And the reason I did that was because they're all copyrighted by the Department of Copywriting in D.C., and they're all registered with the Writers Guild in West in Los Angeles. So I've done everything I could to protect them. Why leave them on my hard drive? Let me just put them out there for the world. So I did that, and Rick and I created this cartoon that was an ad for my work in the cartoon so people could see it, and we posted the cartoon ad on Facebook and Instagram, and we go back and forth, and we got a lot of hits on the website, but we didn't really get anybody reading the cartoons because they were there for the scripts. So another dead end. Now, but I'm not giving up. So we're going, and now my wife I'm talking to my wife. My wife's the most intelligent person I've ever known in my life. When our boys were old enough to take care of themselves after school, she went to Rice University in Houston, graduated with honors in her 30s, then got a master's degree in psychology at Houston Baptist. And when we went to California, she worked in these firms that would help companies who were laying people off. And her company would go in with consultants and help with resumes and help them physically, psychologically get through the loss of their job. She's very good at it. And she eventually wound up running these companies. So one of the big ones, managing the administration, the consultants, sales, everything. So she's sharp. And she says to me, you need to get on LinkedIn. LinkedIn. That's a job site. I don't want to go on LinkedIn. It's a job. And she said, no, it's much more than that. And I kept arguing with her. And she said, you need to get on LinkedIn. I knew I needed to stop. So I said, okay, honey. And I got on LinkedIn. Guess what? I'm looking on LinkedIn. I'm moving around. All those decision makers in Hollywood are there. They're on LinkedIn. And so I start sending out connection requests. I say in my profile, I'm a screenwriter and so on and so forth. They're answering me. And they're saying, sure. These are the people that I've been dying for 30 years to talk to. And they're talking to me, and we message. And I don't push my work at this point. I just want to get along with people and make contacts. But I have to tell you, Dave, they are the nicest, kindest people. Even though they're multimillionaires probably, they're willing to talk to me. And it's just great. So she was right. And what I started doing was I would post my work, and they would see it. Because when the post comes out, it goes to all the people that have connected with me. And then you found me on LinkedIn. And you invited me to your show. And this was huge. And I posted that on LinkedIn. And everybody was seeing it. And they're telling everybody else. Now I'm getting actors and producers and CEOs of companies, production companies, wanting to connect with me and asking me if it's okay. And of course it is. So now I've got this whole body of folks out there, and it's just incredible. So I've made a lot of progress. Now I'm at the point where I would like to share with you and the audience what one of the professional evaluators said about part of my meet and greet romantic comedy. And it's very interesting, and I think your viewers will enjoy it. She said that Meet and Greet is a character-driven romantic comedy about emotional resilience, rediscovering love, and the quiet courage it takes to trust again. Set in New York's fast-paced financial world, the story follows Janice Conrad, a brilliant, emotionally guarded woman who believes her career success is more reliable than love. When a charming Wall Street broker falls for her, he must find a way to earn not just her heart, but her trust. And she goes on to say, what follows is a deeply satisfying, slow burn romance built on friendship, healing, and emotional evolution, inspired by the structures and tone of beloved hits like When Harry Met Sally, The Proposal, and The Long Shot. This story offers audiences both romantic tension and genuine emotional payoff. It tickled me silly. And so what I did is I posted for both. I got it done on both rom-coms right above where the script is. When you're on the cartoon and you want to look at the script, these profiles come up. So everything is there. It's all out in the open. We just need to get people to come take a look at it. So now I'm at the point where I want to say to the industry, and I found this quote, discovery is not a risk. It's the point. Mm-hmm. And what we're talking about is, yes, discovering my work is not necessary like all similar romantic comedies. It's a little different, but it's unique. Everything I learned and everything I did as a broker, I've embedded into my characters in both rom-coms. So their whole stories are evolved around Wall Street and that activity and that energy. And they're wonderful. If I could just get somebody to read them, they would see that. Now take The Proposal, Dave. Mm-hmm. That was Reynolds, Sandra Bullock, Betty White, absolutely brilliant actors. They did a brilliant job. The script was great. That grossed $317 million worldwide, that one movie. And I'm being compared to it in tone and energy. Why not look at another opportunity, $300 million? Because it's right here in both these two scripts. We'll see. Maybe this show will help some people say, yeah, maybe I'll have to take a look at this. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Do you have any questions you want?
Oh, I've got a lot of questions, Rick. That's a beautiful story. Let's start off. So you moved to New York, then you moved to LA. You're not making any traction, even though you're trying to, and you're sending the letters. What's that like on your family? Because they're seeing you with such passion and inspiration to keep going and to keep driving. And to this day, you're still doing it, which is hugely admirable. But what was it like on your family back then when you've got this dream, but it's not happening?
By the time we got to LA and the dream started, where I started learning how to write, it was just my wife and I. The boys grown up, I think, because we're up to 1990. My wife's very supportive, but she was always more successful than me. And I wanted to try to do something, not primarily, but I also want to try to keep up with her because of her brilliance and her work. But she's always been very supportive. And we've been married decades, lots of decades. We met when we were 15 at a church camp. And I knew right away, she's the one. Yeah, it was weird because I walked in with my best friend, and she was there on the archery range by herself. And I looked at her, and my knees buckled. He grabbed me and he said, "What's wrong?" And I wouldn't tell him what it was, but it was her. The first time I saw her, it's like it exploded. And it took a while, but she finally came around, and we eventually got married. But we're still married.
Must have been cool being in New York back in the 80s. I mean, working on Wall Street, that was the heyday of New York.
It was. The Brooklyn Bridge, I walked it once because it was right out our apartment and back and forth. There's a great documentary about how they built that in the 1800s. And then you think about going on the floor of the exchange and the market crash in 1929, where the bottom and investors were jumping out of skyscrapers onto the concrete, killing themselves. It was terrible. The problem was that the industry wasn't regulated. margin agreements were really not, there was no control over it. So if you walked into a broker in the 1920s with $100, you could borrow $900 from the broker, and you'd have $1,000 worth of stock. But as soon as that stock went down, you get a margin call, and you have to come up with more money. Well, that $100 investor, they don't have any more money. So that's when it crashed. So later, I think in the middle of the 1930s, they created a rule where margin agreements, 50% is the maximum that can be loaned out by a brokerage to, you have to put up 50% and they'll loan you 50%. And they created a lot of other rules about investment companies and a lot of the things that now protect us from that ever happening.
Do you think that if you'd have had your time over again, if you were starting now, it would be different in terms of back then, like you said, you could not get anyone to listen. You're trying to get past admin people who really didn't care so much and weren't passing your work to the people who should be reading it. But now there's such a movement. There's social media, there's LinkedIn, there's direct messaging, there's YouTube to put things out. Do you think if you were starting from scratch now, it would be a different story for you?
It would be a much better story. It wouldn't be different, because the best story would be to work for an agency and have them working for me. I never got that opportunity. But what didn't exist back then was everything you just described. So what I did when all those things came into being, I made an end run around, and I got on LinkedIn, and all those people I wanted to talk to are there, and they're seeing my profile. And the only thing that was missing was the agencies do the negotiating and the contracts when their clients are offered a position or scripts sold. I didn't have that. But I went online and I looked up entertainment attorneys, and I found this really nice lady in Beverly Hills. Her name is Dinah Perez. And we talked, and she understood. She said, Rick, whenever you get somebody interested in one of your projects, have them contact me, and I will do the negotiating and the contract. And if we make a sale, you become a client permanently. Right now, I'm not a client, but she's there to help me if one comes up. And then once one of my projects sells, there will be interest in all of my work. And I'm working on one now that is quite incredible. It's a genre-bending detective story that I don't think's ever been done before. And it's writing itself. You remember Bob Dylan?
Yes,
singer?
I do. Yep.
He was asked one time, how was he able to write all these incredible songs, like Blowing in the Wind and It's All Right, Mama? And he said, I didn't write them. I took dictation. Something inside him that was greater than he was consciously took over and wrote those. That's what he said. And
Wow.
I have found myself all these years, I'll sit down, pull up Final Draft, start writing 4 or 5 pages of a script. Maybe I go for 3 or 4 hours, and I'll save it. I'll go have dinner. I'll watch TV, go to bed, get up the next morning, and I'll read it. I'll say, did I write this? This is strange. This is they're already pulling up the character arcs and all the things and the bullet points. There's something. Who was it? Bill Gates? Bill Gates said 10,000 hours invested in something, and you become an expert at it. Well, I mentally and physically spent 10,000 hours trying to become a script writer. So I think I'm at that point where it's just kind of happening automatically.
Do you ever sneak autobiographical moments into your script about your life?
I did in the rom-coms. Yes, because all of them are working in the financial services industry, basically. There's one that's in the accounting industry. But those 2 rom-coms are just, I read them, and there's places where I know women will cry. I shed a tear, and I've seen it. I wrote it. But when I reread it, it just gets to me. I know it's good. I know it's good. It just has to be looked at by somebody that recognizes that. I wanted to share a couple of other things with you. You may have some more questions, but I think we have enough time. I have quotes that I've saved, and one of them, Maya Angelou. I don't know if you've heard of her. She was a poet and an author. She wrote, "People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will always remember how you made them feel." So I immediately sat down and I wrote myself. I said, that's what great storytelling does. It enables people to feel their deepest, most ethereal feelings. That's what my work does. So that meant a lot to me, and I like sharing it with other people because it's quite empowering. And then there's another quote I have that impacts you. People come in two forms: those who endure history and those who make history. You're making history. You're creating a show that's growing by leaps and bounds. Your brilliance is being put out there for the world. You're making history, and I hope someday I can make history with my writing. I really do. And
you're very kind.
There's one thing. Yeah, I wrote something to myself, but it really is to the industry. And I said, I spent most of my financial career helping bank clients protect and grow their wealth. And that's for over 45 years, probably thousands of people. And what I'm saying is now I want to do the same for the gifted, talented, and creative leaders in Hollywood with my high profit potential screenplays and sitcoms. I want to help you grow your wealth because my work will help whoever buys it make a lot of money. That's my belief. We'll see what happens.
Oh, I've got everything crossed for you, Rick. I think, honestly, you are on a trajectory that's going to be discovered, and all of a sudden you'll be off like a rocket script. Where would you like your details? What we'll do is we'll put your details. Do you want them up, down, left, or right? Where would you like them on the screen?
Above you.
Above me. So all of the details for Rick's work, how you can get hold of him, everything that he's doing, we'll include the LinkedIn and everything like that right above there. And you'll be able to touch base and get in touch. And he's got them there, but we'll make sure that they're brighter and bolder on the screen. I love it. Rick, it's an absolute pleasure to catch up with you. We have run out of time, but I do appreciate you spending time with me. Thank you so much. We're going to be back right after these messages. And you're saying this is what Tom Cruise does. He doesn't actually get in the plane. He has a green screen behind him and just a joystick. And this works. Does he have it on a desk? Tom, we've got to be real with this. He has it on a desk as well. Trusting you, Tom. You better not put anything stupid behind there. Does he move like this? Feeling it now, Tom. I feel the need. The need for